After 3 years of total dedication, my father, my own boss, handed the promotion to my sister's husband. 5 weeks. That's how long he'd been there. 5 weeks of showing up late, asking basic questions, and somehow still becoming the manager. I stood in the office while everyone clapped. Fake smiles, forced congratulations, and he grinned like he'd earned it. My father glanced at me once, quick, evasive. That told me everything. Say something, my sister whispered, nudging me like this was a celebration I was supposed to be part of. So I did. I smiled, walked up, and shook his hand. Congratulations, I said. Then I turned to my father. Congrats to you too, Billy. He frowned. What? I didn't explain. I walked back to my desk, opened my laptop, and typed an email. Short, clear, final. Subject resignation. No drama, no complaints, just facts. 3 years in, effective immediately. I printed it, signed it, walked back to his office, and placed it on his desk. He looked at it, then at me. His expression shifted fast. You can't be serious, he said. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I am, I said, because this wasn't about a promotion. It was about a decision he had already made, and I had just made mine. What he didn't understand, I wasn't just leaving a job. I was removing something he didn't even know he depended on. My name is Adrian Cole. I'm 29, and for 3 years, I wasn't just an employee at my father's company. I was the system behind it, not the face, not the title. The structure, operations, client retention, vendor negotiations. Everything that doesn't look impressive on paper but actually keeps a business alive. My brother-in-law, Kyle, knew how to talk. Confidence, charisma. That kind of energy that looks like leadership in a meeting. My father loved that. Always had. He built his business on instinct. I built mine on patterns. That's where we started drifting apart. You need to be more visible, he used to say. You need to be more precise, I thought. 2 different languages, same company, and for 3 years it worked. Because I stayed quiet, solved problems before they surfaced, smoothed over mistakes nobody saw, including Kyle's, especially Kyle's. Layer reports, missed numbers, client complaints that never reached my father's desk because I handled them first. I never documented that, never highlighted it. I thought results would speak. They didn't. Visibility did. And Kyle knew that when my father chose him, he wasn't rewarding performance. He was rewarding perception. That's when I understood something important. If you build everything quietly, you can remove it quietly too. And that's exactly what I had just started doing. You're overreacting, my father said, pushing the resignation letter back. This is a decision. I shook my head. No, I said calmly. It's a pattern. What pattern? I didn't answer directly. It would have turned it into an argument. And I wasn't there to argue. I was there to leave. Kyle is good with people, he continued. We need someone like that in leadership. You already have one, I said. He paused. Where? I held his gaze. You just don't see it. That landed. Not completely, but enough to irritate him. That's exactly what I mean, he said. You do the work, but you don't show it. Business doesn't reward invisible effort. I almost smiled because he was right. And that was exactly why this was necessary. Then you should be fine without it, I replied. Silence. He didn't like that. Adrian, he said, voice tighter. You're making a mistake. No, I said. I've been covering for one. That was the turning point. It wasn't emotional anymore. It was structural. At 2:17 p.m., I packed my desk. No farewell, no announcement, just the essentials. Laptop, notebook, a few files. As I was leaving, Kyle clapped me on the shoulder. No hard feelings, right? He said, grinning. I looked at him once. You'll understand soon, I said. He laughed, thinking I was bitter. He didn't know I was being precise. The first crack came the next morning, 9:12 a.m. My phone buzzed. Former client, Adrian, quick question. Who's handling our account now? I stared at the screen and replied, reassigned internally. Pause. Okay, but nobody's picking up. I didn't reply. 10:03 a.m. Second message, different client. Same tone. Hey, issue with the last delivery. Can you check? I stared at it. I'm no longer with the company, I wrote. 3 dots appeared, stopped. Then, that's not good. No, it wasn't. 11:40 a.m. My father called. I let it ring once, twice, then picked up. What's going on? He said immediately. What do you mean? Clients are calling me directly. There are delays, missing updates. Kyle says there's no documentation for half your process. I leaned back. Then he'll figure it out, I said. Silence, then sharper. This isn't funny, Adrian. I'm not joking. Another pause. Longer. Now he was starting to see it. Not the work, its absence. You managed all of this? He asked. Yes, that was the moment of the shift. Understanding doesn't come through explanation. It comes through consequence, and the consequences had just begun. By the second day, it wasn't just clients, it was vendors, missing confirmations, unanswered emails, orders stuck in the system. At 2:06 p.m., my phone rang again. I answered right away. Adrian, he said, no greeting. You need to come in. Not please, need. That's not how this works, I said. You left us in the middle of operations. I didn't take anything with me. You took yourself, he snapped. I just stopped showing up, I said. Silence. Kyle can't handle this, he admitted. There it was, reality. He will, I said. You promoted him. That's not the point. It is, I said, because decisions don't exist in isolation. They generate consequences. You created dependencies without documentation, he said. I almost smiled. No, I corrected him. I created stability that you didn't notice. Another pause. What do you want? He finally asked. I didn't answer right away. I want you to understand the decision you made. I made a mistake. No, I said calmly. You made a choice. Silence. I need you back, he said. That's not how this works. What do you need? I exhaled. Structure. He didn't understand. Come in tomorrow, he said. We'll talk. I nodded. Tomorrow. Not coming back. Setting terms. The next morning I walked into the office. Not as an employee, but as clarity. Kyle was already there. Nervous. Where's Adrian? He asked. Right here. His expression changed. 9:15 a.m. The meeting started. My father, Kyle, department heads. I laid everything out. Missing processes, client issues, delays, charts, emails, evidence. My father went quieter. Kyle, restless. This is the difference between perception and work, I said calmly. Then the decisive point. He couldn't carry this alone. Silence. My father understood. Kyle too, not fully as emotion, as reality. By midday, the terms were clear. My role, my responsibilities, my boundaries. And for the first time, the office felt stable. I was the last to leave. No looking back. They had learned something they couldn't unlearn. Weeks later, everything had changed. Clients were calmer. Operations ran again. Kyle started asking more questions. My father started listening. One day he came to my desk. No big speech. You did good, he said. I nodded. Kyle stayed, but different. More careful, more aware. One evening as I was heading out, I didn't think about revenge or recognition. I thought about clarity. Responsibility can't be assumed. It has to be proven. I watched the sunset through the window. Everything I had built, everything I had held steady in silence, it had meant something. Nobody could take that from me. And for the first time, leaving felt like a win. Not over them, but over the chaos that had been ignored for far too long. Control reclaimed, lessons learned, respect earned, and finally, peace.